Southwest Airlines pilots are on the picket line at Dallas Love Field trying to pressure the company. It's not expected to impact flights because these pilots were there on their day off.
I beg your pardon? I beg your pardon?
Why the would you do something like that?
The pilots, who are members of the Southwest Airlines Pilots Association, have been working without a contract with the airline for 2 years, and they claim that they are understaffed and overworked.
Now, let me say this. If these pilots would have done this in order to disrupt a lot of flights, if they would have done this during a holiday or whatever it was, the point would have been made. People would have took notice because people would have gotten angry, they would have gotten emotional, and they would have looked at the airlines like, yo, what is going on? What's happening? How come y'all can't get this fixed? Give the pilots what they want so that we can sit up there and have our flights and yada yada yada. Like I said, the problem would have been solved because the people would have been talking for the pilots, but because the pilots decided that, hey, we're going to just do this on our day off, and we're going to do this when nobody's really around. This is why this point is going to go mute. This is why nobody's realistically going to care, because they're protesting the wrong way. In order to protest, you protest in order to disrupt. Right, that is the main cause, so people can actually pay attention. Right, you're not going there to be a caustic, type of individual. You're there to get people's attention, to make them aware of certain circumstances and situations that are going on with the pilots and how they feel that they're being treated unfairly, which then is going to trickle down to the consumer, because the end result is that you want the consumer to speak for the pilots. The airlines, it's like, oh, well, we don't really have pilots, XYZ, all this other type of stuff. They could probably bring in some other pilots. They'll recomp people. The pilots could potentially get penalized. However, they would decide to sit up there and do it, right? But if the airline ended up getting bad press by way of the consumer, the business has to respect the consumer, because the consumer is what? Always right. So it's not just the pilots that's talking. It's also the consumer, right, that's mad about the situation, because the higher ups that own all of these airlines, that's in control of all of these pilots, aren't doing the things that they're supposed to be doing to make sure that the pilots want to actually be there to do their job so that people can go from point A to point B. Like I said before, they did it wrong, and more than likely from this, nothing's going to happen. They got a quick 15 seconds directly out there, and pretty much nothing is going to change. Now, if pilots from all over the United States decided to do this exact same thing on one day at the exact same time, right? Then, maybe then, that would sit up there and do something, even on their day off. Even on their day off. Maybe that would cause enough of a disruption, because even on their day off or whatever it is, people still need to do flights. You still have cargo that needs to go to point A to point B, and so on and so on and so on. So somehow, some way, things will still get disrupted, and people would have to pay attention, because somebody isn't going to be at the place that they're supposed to be, or some items aren't going to be where they need to be at a certain given time. So like I said before, there's a multitude of ways to go about this. They just went about this the complete wrong way.